Anyway, I was just curious.
It's alive.
So do you mind recanting for our Untold Radio audience your experience, Dean, which we're really honoured for you to be able to do this for us?
Okay, well, it was 1998 and there wasn't a lot of film work around, so I got the job of, well, it was kind of film related, cleaning cinemas. And
Wow.
it was a huge 30 cinema complex at a place called Marion Shopping Centre, which has been downsized now. But it was just popcorn everywhere. So you would start at 12 midnight and just suck popcorn until 8 in the morning. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. The only good part was you got to see movies for 50 cents. But one night I was vacuuming away in cinema 28, pretty sure it was, and it was a real stinking hot night, about October, November, and they switched the air conditioners off. Of course, they don't let them run at night time. So every now and again, you'd go out your cinema, out the back exit door for a bit of fresh air. And so this night I went out the back exit door, and you end up on the roof of the shopping centre. And there was no wind, there was no clouds, the stars were all out. And I went over to the wall and looked down over the suburbs. And this was back when people had huge backyards, people don't have backyards anymore. They all build houses as many as they can on each property. But of course, a lot of people kept their dogs outside back then, in the backyard. And so I noticed that from far away, lots and lots of dogs were all starting to bark at once. And then the noise got louder and louder as more dogs getting closer to the cinema were all starting to bark and howl. And so I looked up, and there was this black triangle. How do I describe it? It was blacker than the night sky, if you know what I mean. So the stars were disappearing in a triangular shape, but I couldn't see any detail on it. Nothing. I was really disappointed, because I was expecting flashing lights and laser beams and when you see a UFO, but it was just this huge, I'd say the size of a football oval, just gliding across the sky, blocking it out in a perfect or long triangle shape, like that one at the start of Star Wars that flies over the camera, that triangle shape, but no noise whatsoever. And it was going so slow, I just couldn't work out how it could stay in the air with no noise.
So was it pretty close?
Yeah, it's hard, really hard to say, because I have no detail on the thing, but I could tell it wasn't just above my head. I could tell it was a fair way up, and so I was estimating about the size of a football. Anyway, it glided over to the other side where all the air conditioning plants on top of the roof were. But so I couldn't see it going out over to the ocean because it had come from the Adelaide Hills direction and was heading towards the ocean. And of course, all the dogs had stopped after it had gone. But one little funny thing happened on the floor, which I completely forgot about until maybe a few years ago. It was just an insignificant thing, but for some reason it never came in my head. There was an empty Smith's crisps packet on the roof, and there was no wind, remember? And the packet, if I can show you, was going like that and making a crackly vibrating sound as it was above me. So on the floor was going, and it's going like there was a rat in it or something, but there wasn't. So I'm wondering, the inside of those packets, they've got like a silver line.
Yeah.
Anything to do with what was going on up there? Because it stopped when the thing went past. But I'd only been thinking about that recently, whether that was connected, because there was no wind. The packet wouldn't move, but it was just the way it was moving like that and making it.
It was vibrating, wasn't it?
Yes, that's the word. Yeah. It's got to be connected.
So do you feel that could have been a static charge? Were you?
Yes. Yeah.
Was there
That's
any
what
effect on your skin or your hair at that
No,
time
no,
as well?
nothing on me. Nothing. You know, you hear about these people that get dizzy and stuff like that. I was very disappointed that didn't happen. But no, it was just because of the silver lining. I think it probably had something to do with static electricity or something. But I'm glad that I saw what I saw.
So did you? Was there any other sightings? Did you hear the next day? Because sometimes when there's something that big that
No,
because if it was traveling from wherever,
yeah.
usually.
As far I was cleaning with a guy who was in the opposite cinema. He was a guitarist from the Little River Band.
All right.
And called Graham.
Between jobs, obviously.
Yeah. And I was asked him if he'd been there a lot longer than me, and he'd never seen anything like that. So I was the only one.
So he didn't get to see it with you. He was
you were up
inside.
on he was up on the roof on his own.
No, he was in another cinema. There was about 9 of us there.
How long would have?
I was the only one, obviously, outside.
How long would that have lasted, Dean? Do you think your sighting?
Oh, from the sighting or from the dogs?
Well, even from the dogs. How long was that experience for you? Do you think?
I would say dogs were barking for a good 3 to 4 minutes before I actually looked up, and then the gliding over me would have taken about 45 to a minute.
Right. Okay.
From where I spotted it to when it went behind the air conditioning, out of view from the air conditioning unit.
Right.
It's so fascinating because, you've got these 2 primary indicators there. You've got this effect on the animals around there, which alerted you to it. And then you've got the fact that something of that weight and that size, and if I can get you to just digress, you said the size was like a football field. It was quite a big object.
Huge.
Yeah. I had a feeling that it was a big object, but because there's no detail on it, and I don't know, I just knew that it wasn't a small object. It was quite large.
Right.
Isn't that astounding? Gee whiz, in many ways, it's incredibly consistent with lots of reports that people have experienced, and it remains incredibly odd. Now, anything else in the world of the anomalous that you've experienced during your course of film production or other work?
Unfortunately not. No,
Wow.
no ghosts.
All right. I think the interview's done now.
But that is an astounding experience. And when you told it to me, my jaw dropped. And I thought, for someone that's not out there searching for this stuff.
Yeah, to see something like that.
And just out of the blue. And has that changed your perspective, or were you already on the other side? Did that just cement that there's something else going on out there?
Yeah, I mean, before that, I'd seen a lot of interviews with people, and you just know when they're telling the truth or not. And
Sure.
I just knew there was something, and I was just so.
But now you've got confirmation.
Yeah, so lucky to know that there is. I mean, some people that I've told have said, "Oh, yeah, well, it's probably one of those army experiments or something," but a object cannot go that slow and that silent.
We don't have anything.
It's defying physics.
We don't have anything yet.
Yeah.
And the